Elliot Vela. Where's Elliot Vela? Are you all ready to proceed on the motion to revoke?
We are, Your Honor.
Court is calling 2023 CR 7388 State versus Elliot Scott Vela. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan.
For the defense?
Gary Chirac.
And are you Mr. Vela?
Yes, Your Honor. Drug court.
All right, Mr. Vela, did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and First Amendment Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you the same Elliot Scott Vela who was placed on deferred adjudication for the offense of robbery on 2023 CR 7388 for the offense of robbery on November 13th, 2023 for a term of 6 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state.
In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Elliot Scott Vela did then and there fail to report the supervision officer as directed for the months of May and June of 2024 in violation of condition number.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
State waives the remaining violation allegations, Your Honor.
All right, did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Judge. He's agreed to go to SADC.
All right, so how long has he been missing or not reporting? From what year?
The year last year.
I'm sorry?
2024. He does have a drug issue, and he's relayed to me that he does want help.
So you've been missing May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 8 months. All right, you want to raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Elliot Vela.
All right, so you've been missing for close to 8 months. Did you ever call probation?
In the beginning I did, and then I stopped because I figured I had a warrant. I got a letter in the mail for Atascosa County that had a warrant, so that's why I stopped recording.
So why did you never reach out to probation and tell them you need help?
I really wasn't thinking. I was, like I said, I had a drug problem. I was just out there.
I mean, but here's the thing, having a drug problem doesn't excuse you for your responsibilities. So I'm trying to make a decision on whether or not to revoke you and send you to prison or whether or not to send you to treatment. And you're just saying, well, you know, I had a drug problem. You need to tell me something more. What have you been doing with your life?
Honestly, not much. I mean, I've been on heavy drugs for 15 years now.
I'm sorry, what?
I've been on heavy drugs for like 15 years now. So, I mean, it's just been a revolving door, you know?
Did you even do any of your parenting classes?
Yeah, I completed. That was the first thing I did. And that waived my community service right off the rip.
All right, probation. Did he complete his parenting classes? Well, with the parenting classes, the court said that the community service hours would be deemed satisfied upon completion. All right. Did you do your sober support meetings?
Yes, I was doing those. My PO had a copy of the first few months I was out. Yeah, I did those weekly. She had me doing weekly, but I was doing those.
Did you have employment?
No, not yet, man.
Well, not yet. You've been on probation since 2023. Did you ever have employment since 2023?
Just with my mom's boyfriend, her husband.
All right, see, and how's he paying you in cash?
Yeah, so yeah.
I don't do the cash and carry employment here. Do you understand? All right. So I'm going to give you a choice. You know yourself better than probation knows you, better than your attorney knows you, better than I know you. But these choices come with honesty to yourself. You know, my grandmother would always say, you can be dishonest with other people if that's the way you choose your life, but don't ever be dishonest with yourself. At this point, I don't right now, you cannot successfully complete this probation. You have other things that are going on. So if you would like, I will revoke you. I will sentence you to 3 years, or what's going to end up happening, you're going to remain in custody. They're going to do a TAP evaluation. And I'm going to order felony drug court referral. You're going to remain in custody for that. If felony drug court does not accept you, you are going to be in someone's inpatient treatment. So those are your two choices: 3 years in prison or treatment. Which do you prefer?
And with the 3 years, would I get back time for the time I?
You see, you'll receive credit for any time. Legally, I have to give you credit for any time you've been in custody.
And I would discharge my.
No, here's the thing. I don't do this thing where I'm talking to you about what parole is going to do.
Yes.
I can just tell you what the parole law says, but whether or not you're released or not, that's strictly on parole. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. There are certain things that you can listen to inmates about, and it will be true. One, how much time people are actually doing at the prison. An inmate, if they tell you how much time people are actually doing at the prison, usually that's true. Two, when everybody is catching chain, that's usually true. When they're trying to give you legal advice, usually not true. All right, we can go back on the record. What do you prefer?
I'll take the program.
The program, when you say program, what do you mean? Well,
Drug court referral.
it's going to be drug court referral or whatever placement they recommend. Probation has said SATF in this, but if the recommendation is SAFE, that's where you're going. And SAFE is 9 months.
I'll take TDC.
He prefers TDC. Thank you for your honesty. It's going to be 3 years prison. Give you credit for any time served. And I'm sorry, are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes.
All right, 3 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. There's to be no contact with Nordstrom. And there's also no contact with Adam Trevino. And I'll ask for the therapeutic community. Oh, and I'm sorry, the court is finding you guilty and the court is going to revoke. And I know you understand what I meant, but it has to be on the record. All right, we can go off the record. Good luck to you. When you are released from prison, you need to take care of your drug habit. Otherwise, you may end up on the side of a street where somebody's trying to identify your body. And I will say, I remember him. So when you're released, if you can't find a place that will help you with your drug addictions, you can always come back to here. If I'm here, I'll pick up the phone, call somebody for you, okay? All right, good luck to you, okay?
All right, good luck.
All right, is this a plea?
It is.
All right, court is calling 2024 CR 0229, State versus Jesse Arriaga. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Virginia for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Raymond Martinez.
And are you Jesse Arriaga?
Yes, ma'am.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are not, Your Honor. We are proceeding forward on an amended count 1 of attempted indecency with child by contact.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor. We will waive count.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged? Well, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of attempted indecency with its child contact as a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you Jesus Arriaga?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you the same person that is listed in the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you also go by the name Jesse Arriaga?
Not Jesse R, Jesse A.
I'm sorry, Jesse A. Arriaga.
Yes,
is that also you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're also Jesus Arizola Arriaga III?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So did you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, off the record. I see here where you all put state recommends deferred adjudication for a period of 2 years. You all are not allowed to enter into an agreement on the length of probation. So if that's a deal breaker, then
We had an extensive conversation on that, Judge. We understand it's within the court's purview to set the term, although I think we can still agree to whatever we want to agree to.
All right, so
And then what I would say is it doesn't bind the court, but
well,
I wanted to have the ability to withdraw my plea if the court was not going to follow that.
Well, no,
recommendation.
you all are not allowed to agree to the term. And it says the state recommends deferred adjudication for a period of 2 years. That shouldn't be here. If y'all want to put down here, this is where your recommendation for 2 years is, but not above the line. So if y'all are trying to bind the court to the length of probation, I'm not going to allow y'all to do that.
That was not the state's intention, Your Honor. Both parties understood that the court has the ability to and to order however long of probation the court deems appropriate. However, I think defense's concern was that we just wanted it known that our intention was the state was recommending 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, for the court, it's there at the bottom of the line. And if you all want to argue and fight for 2 years on the record, you can, but placing it above the line is not appropriate for the court.
I understand, Judge. I'm not going to quarrel. I understand. I expected you to say something along those lines. However, my position was we wanted to be able to withdraw our plea if the court wasn't going to follow the agreement.
So you all want me to say 2 years, and I'm telling you right now, you all don't get to dictate or make an agreement to the length of his probation if I follow the plea. And I know that's not anyone's intention, yes, but it just should not be above the line, because this is what's binding upon the court.
This is the last thing I'll say about it, Judge, and because I'm not arguing with any of the things you're saying. The issue is, if I make certain representations to my client that induce him to accept a plea agreement, I don't want the rug to be pulled out from under him, because then he winds up with a 10-year probation instead of a 2-year probation. And so I didn't know any other way to address that other than in this fashion.
All right, so this is what I can tell you, sir. The state and the defense are not allowed to present the court and make it binding on the court that I were to give you a probation term of 2 years. They can argue for the length of probation time. They can argue for certain conditions. The only plea bargain agreement you're able to enter into as a binding contract with the state is whether or not they're in agreement to you having deferred. If they agree for you to have deferred, hypothetically, we can go off the record. Hypothetically, if they were to agree for you to have deferred, and then you come to me and I say, I'm not giving you deferred, I'm giving you a conviction, then I have not followed your plea bargain agreement. If they were to say, I want you to have 3 years in prison, and that's your agreement, and then I were to come back and say, I'm not giving you 3 years in prison, I'm accepting your plea and I'm giving you 4, or I'm giving you more than that, I'm not allowed to do that because that's not a part of your plea bargain agreement. The length of time someone is on probation, that's for the court to decide. Whatever conditions, that's for the court to decide. For example, when you hear me telling people you're to report every month, if I were to tell probation they can report once every 6 months, then those are my conditions. And they only have to report once every 6 months. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So the state and the defense are telling me that they want you to have 2 years probation, the length of time. They can argue for that, but I don't have to give you 2 years. I can look at it. Maybe I will give 2 years. I don't know. I don't know anything about this case. I don't know the facts of the case. I could give you 3 years. I could give you 4 years. I could give you up to 10 years probation. I don't know because I don't know anything about your case. But they can argue and say they want you to only have 2 years deferred. Do you understand? Yeah. All right. So if y'all want to step back and discuss that, you can step back to discuss it. If you still want to go forward with your plea bargain agreement, then this, for a period of 2 years, that's initial, need to be removed from above the line. All right, we're back on the record. So with regards to the plea bargain agreement, is there any objection from the state or the defense, thank you, to the court removing the words for a period of 2 years next to the state recommends deferred adjudication?
We do not, Judge.
All right, so the court will remove that portion. And Mr. Arriaga, do you have any objection to the court removing that?
No, I don't.
All right. So you understand the range of punishment?
I do.
And you understand that if you have a plea bargain agreement, the court does not have to follow your plea?
I do.
Do you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in the prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense under count 1 of attempted indecency with a child by contact. There's a $1,500 fine. The state is recommending deferred adjudication. There's to be Chapter 62 compliance. And of course, you know, there is a registration period related to that of 10 years. And there is to be no contact with the complainant. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years and that you be with the sex offender unit. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offense, the lesser included offense, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court would defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We'd like to, judges.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, all I can say is that, as you can see from the nature of the plea bargain, there was a lot of exchanging between the parties of information, mitigation, the history of the case, the issues with the child. Unfortunately, she had a very difficult upbringing, losing a parent very young and didn't have the other parent. It just goes on and on. We went through CPS records, we went through counseling records, and it was a hard decision for Mr. Arriaga to arrive at, but he felt it was in the best interest of himself that he not expose himself to a different kind of an outcome. And he's going to have an extensive registration, which doesn't begin until after the term of probation expires, which is why we had such a long discussion about how long his probation was going to be for. He has a clean record for the most part. He's been gainfully employed. He's never missed court, never been late to court, has not had any violation reports. He's ready to put this case behind him. We do want to address one issue regarding his ability to have access to his grandchildren. Because of the nature of the case, obviously there are restrictions in that regard. The parent of those children is here in court. If the court needed to hear from him or he could advise probation in writing what his desires are in that regard. He's not asking for unsupervised. He just wants to be able to see him as he has been their whole lives. Other than that, Judge, we've asked the court to follow the plea agreement.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Is there anything you wish to say?
No.
All right, and what do you do for employment? Not where you work, but what do you do?
I'm a barber.
All right. This is what the court is going to do is a $1,500 fine, time and money. I'm sorry, $1,500 fine probated. Chapter 62 registration. There's to be no contact with the complainant. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home health care provider with minors. Regular and random UAs. With the UAs, you can either do a patch. The patch costs more, but you won't have to. It's less time constraints on you. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. If he's to have a contact with minor, it'll have to be an approved chaperone by probation. And usually, for example, with regards to your grandchildren, you'll need that person to be the supervised chaperone. Usually it's approved. If it's not approved or there's something with that, just let the court know.
Understood.
And he'll be with the sex offender unit and the court is going to sentence you to 4 years deferred adjudication. All right, good luck to you. Thank you. Probation will go over conditions. All right, court is calling 2022 CR 10344, State versus Elizabeth Romo. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jenny Callahan, defense.
And are you Miss Romo?
Yes, ma'am.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, we move to waive count 1 and proceed on.
Did you understand in count 2, you're charged with the offense of arson of a habitation or place of assembly? That's a first-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at 6 years in the prison. There's a $2,000 fine, no applications, and they're taking in consideration 2024 PF 26808. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We asked the court to follow the plea agreement. Nobody got hurt in this case.
Is there anything you wish to say on your behalf?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then the court will follow your plea bargain agreement. The court will find you guilty. The court will take in consideration 2024 PF 26808, 6 years in the prison, credit for any time served, $2,000 fine, time and money to run concurrent. There should be no contact with Frank Benavides, Carlos Alberto Regalado. All right. Are there any drug issues or mental health issues with you? If there is, I can also request the therapeutic community for you. It does not increase the time that you're on, the time that you're in prison, but it is to help you with any issues you may have.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I'll also request the therapeutic community. All right. Is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. When you're released from prison, if I'm still here, you need help finding a place to stay or help with any type of issues you have, just come back. If I'm still here, I'll pick up the phone and help you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to see where you were at, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience. Israel Medellin. All right. There's only one motion to revoke. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Court is calling 2020 CR 0572 State versus Israel Medellin Jr. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense.
Floyd Barrera, Jr.
And are you Mr. Israel Medellin?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you the same Israel Medellin who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 0572 for the offense of evading arrest, detention, using a vehicle on February 10th, 2022 for a period of 3 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. Violated condition number 1 on or about the 20th day of July, 2023, in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Israel Medellin Jr., committed the offense of unlawful carrying of a weapon in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True. Your Honor, will waive the remaining violated condition.
All right, any objections to the waivers?
No, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 1, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 10 years in the prison and up to $10,000 fine? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1? Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There's not an agreement, but there's a proposal, Your Honor.
Yes.
There is partial agreement. The agreement is that we went through to the UCW. The state will be taking into consideration that cause number, which is 713157 at a county court number 8. And also at the same time of that incident, we're taking another case into consideration, which is the unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, which is 2023 CR 9587. And I'll tender those dismissals to the court. Thank you, Judge. And Judge, the state's recommendation is revocations that have not agreed upon.
All right. So the state is recommending revocation. Do you have any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. My client.
All right. You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Israel Medellin, Jr.
All right. Defense, you may proceed.
Yes, Mr. Medellin, tell the court what you do for a living.
Yes, miss. I make music for a living.
I'm sorry, what?
I make music for a living.
Music.
I've been doing it for 5 years. It's been helping me pay my house, take care of my family, my son, my wife. It's what I do for a living. It's how I get monthly income. It's how I pay all my bills. It's how I survive.
And explain to the court who your family consists of.
Me, my wife, my son, He's the third, and then I'm having a baby on the way too.
All right, so let me just tell you right now, the crux of the court's question is going to be, what has he completed since he's been on probation?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, what has he completed since he's been on probation? Because the only thing I have before me now is the fact that he picked up an unlawfully carrying of a weapon. So what has he completed on probation?
Miss, I've reported every month. I was
No. I'm just trying to get to what have you done on probation? Sometimes, just a second, take a deep breath. Sometimes this is what the issue is. You will have somebody come before you and maybe they have a motion to revoke and they picked up a new case. So what do I know about you? What I know about you right now is that you were placed on probation and you committed a new offense. So I'm trying to figure out, what have you been doing since you've been on probation? Everybody always comes in, and I say everybody, and 99% of the people come in, I have a baby on the way. And you know, my mindset is always, why were you not thinking about that before you picked up a new case? Or people will tell me, my mother is in the hospital, or my family member is in the hospital. And you know, my question always is, why were you not thinking about that before you pick up a new case? So I'm trying to figure out, what have you completed on probation? Were you reporting? Because your conditions of probation are to report. Were you reporting?
Where?
Were you reporting? Did you report on a regular basis?
Yes, miss.
So you've never missed reporting?
No, I may have missed a date or something, but I always try to make sure I stay on top of it. I may have missed a date. Yes, I have.
Here's the thing. We're not talking about maybes. My understanding, the probation officer's here. So were you reporting regularly?
Yes, miss. Yes, I was.
Did you ever miss reporting?
No.
All right. Have you completed any community service hours?
I was supposed to pay them off. Yes, I was trying to pay them off. I was trying to get your permission actually to pay them off.
So here's the thing. You need to listen to my questions. You've been on probation since 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you complete community service hours?
No, miss.
All right. Next question. Did you complete parenting classes?
I completed one of them. Yes, miss, I did.
No. Did you successfully complete your parenting classes?
Yes.
So what I mean by that is all the classes, if parenting classes were 10 classes, right?
Yes, I took them all.
Did you get the certificate?
Yes, miss, I did.
All right. The next question. Did you participate in field visits?
What is that, miss?
Oh, probation comes out to your house to check on you to see that you're doing well.
Yes, miss. I know. They have my address. I don't know how that goes. They never contacted me to go to my house, but they have my address where I live at.
All right. So, counsel.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Yes. Are you on medication?
Yes, miss. Also, I do have a medicinal marijuana license, and I know I have came out positive for marijuana, but I get prescribed THC oils, and that helps me with my insomnia, my PTSD, and it helps me stay asleep at night. That's the only reason I have positives on there.
He should have been on in my opinion, Judge, a mental health doctor. He has serious PTSD and anxiety, and he needs cognitive thinking. It was recommended on this particular case, Judge, and I couldn't agree more. Getting him.
Well, did he take the MRT? Because that was one of his conditions.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
Oh, to help you make
better
decisions, to help you realize the correct moral choice. For example, not to pick up an unlawfully carrying of a weapon because you're on probation.
No, miss. I don't think I took it. I don't think so. I don't recall.
Okay.
It's been a while, miss. Atascosa County did sit me down for 7 months, so that is a reason why I may have not been reporting, or I didn't have no reports from August 4th to February 12th, I was incarcerated in Atascosa County last year. But everything before that, miss, I had been reporting every month. I had been taking my UAs every month, miss. I had been complying and trying to get this out the way, miss. Like I said, I have a family I take care of and rely on me so much. And I just found out I have another baby on the way. It's not nothing I wasn't thinking about. I just found out, miss. And it's just, it's news that's.
Well, everybody knows how babies come to be.
No, yes, miss. I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I wasn't aware of it. I'm not trying to continue to live my life like this. I do have a family that depends on me a lot, and I'm just trying to get out there and show them I can do right. My son depends on me a lot, and I'm
very talented singer, musician,
Yes.
makes music, writes music. He's a very creative, Judge, but he's got some mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I do make music with, and I have a very big following, and I feel like that is the reason I get harassed, honestly. And I've tried to.
Who's harassing you? Was probation harassing? Because all they wanted you to do was report on a regular basis.
No, it's not probation. It's not
All they
probation.
wanted you to do was the MRT. And here's the thing. You have been on probation since 2022.
Yes,
and everybody knows if people successfully complete their probation, normally, I would say about 90% of the time, if they complete everything and they ask for early termination, I usually give it to them.
No, I understand. It started off rough for me. I can't lie. It started off rough for me because I wasn't used to probation. I wasn't used to people telling me what to do and how to do it. So it was new to me, Miss, but it's something that I know I can get done.
How far did you finish school?
I went all the way to 11th, 12th grade.
All the way to the 11th?
Yes, all the way to 11th grade. I went to 11th grade, Miss. And that's honestly something I'm working on right now too. Is I have my GED in the works. I need to finish. I think I need to get 3.5 more credits and I'm done with my GED too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any questions? Any more questions?
No, ma'am.
State, any questions?
There we are.
All right. Is the probation officer here?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. If you'll come forward, please. Hi. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Moses Lozano.
All right. And so I know that you have been here since this morning. So I wanted to make sure that if either party wanted to call you as a witness, that they would have a chance to call you as a witness. All right. And I know you were being brought because this was supposed to be a contested hearing, but you know, he's decided to enter a plea of truth. So does anyone have any questions for the witness?
I do, Judge. May it please the court, sir. Thank you for staying. Saw you here at 9 o'clock this morning and you've been here all day.
Sure.
I saw a notation that I think you wrote as far as a recommendation to the court. Would you explain on the record what's available that you think that he could use and needs regarding cognitive reasoning and thinking?
Well, we recommended ISF for cognitive.
And why did you recommend it?
That's what we usually do with probationers that tend to need more guidance mentally and in general.
Okay, and
for the record,
what is ISF?
ISF is a program run by the state that probationers go to. They stay there for 90 to 120 days and receive the treatment they need, whether it's mental health, drug abuse, or they'll touch on it.
Sure.
But for him, it'll be cognitive, so it's more mental than drug abuse.
But can he also get drug abuse assistance there?
No, the primary would be
mental. And you believe that is something that he would benefit from?
Yes.
And you did recommend that, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
That's all I have, Judge.
Any questions?
Yes, Judge. I see that your recommendation, sir, was this ISF program. And you obviously are the one that filed the motion to revoke, is that correct?
Yes. And
what would cause you to actually recommend revocation for an individual?
A probationer who consistently report and get arrested numerous times. However, it's always up to my manager to revoke.
So really, it's up to the manager of y'all's facility, of you, to what that recommendation is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because in this particular motion to revoke, there's two number ones. That means that he was arrested on two different occasions, or at least one occasion, the unauthorized use of vehicle and also the unlawful carrying of a weapon. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then there's also an allegation on here that he did not plead true to, which was the evading arrest in Hondo County or Medina County. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's at least two run-ins with the law where he was possibly arrested on new charges, or at least alleged new charges. Is that correct?
Yes.
And just by you testifying now, is that if he's arrested for additional charges, that may be a reason that you would recommend revocation of an individual. Is that correct?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
So I just have one question. So was he reporting on a regular basis or no?
Your Honor, he failed to report in July 2024. After I found out he was released from jail on 06/28/24. I attempted to call him to report, made no contact.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any follow-up questions related to that?
So, his failure to report was because he was in custody? Or do you know?
I do know between the months of February 24 and
Yes,
June, he was incarcerated.
And obviously,
He couldn't report.
he could not report when he was incarcerated, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. That's all, Judge.
Just one question. He was not in custody in July 2024?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Anything else?
That's all, Judge.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. As previously stated, the court is finding violation of condition number 1 true. The court will take in consideration 713-157, 2023 CR 9587. The court is going to find you guilty and the court is going to grant the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to time?
Judge, he has served time for the offense that he has pled true to. And I respectfully submit that time will not help him mentally or emotionally or financially. And he is young. He's still somewhat immature. And he has responsibilities. He's acknowledged. And he's, as I say, Judge, very talented, very creative, and he works very hard at what he does.
Yes, ma'am.
But he makes no excuses for not being able to walk and talk and chew gum consistently. And that's his downfall, Judge. His inconsistency.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, state, what amount of time are you requesting?
Please requesting 5 years, Your Honor.
All right, defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, we're requesting that he be admitted to probation.
All right, so I'm not going to admit him to probation. So the state is asking for 5 years. What would you request?
Judge, we would request the minimum, of course.
All right. The court will sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. And the court will request the therapeutic community. The therapeutic community does not increase the time that you're in custody, but it will help you with any mental health issues or other issues you may have.
Will you retain jurisdiction, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you.